The list of self-referentially absurd positions keep growing. The touchstone proposition of what I here call evidentialism was expressed by a 19th century thinker named W.K. Clifford, who wrote, "It is wrong always, everywhere, and for anyone to believe anything upon insufficient evidence." As Clifford saw it, people have duties and responsibilities with respect to their acts of believing. This is especially so, Clifford thought, in the case of religious beliefs. According to Clifford, there is never sufficient evidence or proof to support religious belief. Consequently, anyone who accepts a religious belief, such as the belief that God exists, is guilty of acting immorally, irresponsibly, and irrationally. There is a rather hefty body of literature that takes this kind of evidentialism apart. To save time, I will look at only one counter-argument. Evidentialism is a logically self-defeating position. As we have seen, the evidentialist believes that it is immoral to believe anything without sufficient proof. But where is the proof for her or his own claim? The fact is that he provides no evidence, nor could he. Therefore, the real immorality in these matters is believing the touchstone proposition of evidentialism. The touchstone proposition of deconstructionism is this: it is impossible ever to know the meaning of any written text. This happens to be a popular view in certain academic circles, especially in English departments that use to introduce students to literary classics. The prevailing view among many contemporary scholars is that all meaning is subjective. A text means whatever it means to the reader. I submit to being a little jealous when I encounter college students who studied literature under a deconstructionist professor. When I studied literature, it was a tough course. Today, writing an exam for such a professor is a snap. Without reading the book, without studying any critical essays, all one has to do is dream up an interpretation, any interpretation, explain it without messing up the syntax and spelling, and get an A. A student of such a professor told me that her professor announced the final exam would require an essay about Moby Dick. All of my readers remember that Moby Dick was the white elephant that swam around the Pacific. Or was it the white whale that swam around the Atlantic? If there is no difference between B and non-B, it doesn't matter, does it? This young woman began her final exam by writing this sentence: Moby Dick is the Republic of Ireland. For the next 90 minutes, she pursued this preposterous thesis to its end. When she got back her exam, her grade was an A, followed by the professor's words, "What a creative essay." Of course it was creative. It had nothing to do with the novel. One advantage of such a theory is that it must be hard to get a bad grade in such a course. One disadvantage of such a theory is that it is difficult to learn anything in such a course. If it is impossible to know the meaning of any written text, how can one know what the teacher or the textbook mean? Things get interesting when deconstructionists teach their paradigm in educational institutions that are supported by conservative church members who take the Bible seriously. If it was impossible to know the meaning of any written text, then it follows that it is impossible to know the meaning of the Bible. Public disclosure of the fact an allegedly religious college engages in this kind of teaching might make student recruitment and retention more difficult, at least among members of the college religious constituency. All that is necessary is to remember that deconstructionism is the paradigm of a logically self-defeating theory.